Good evening. Good evening. So we can get you out of here before 12 p.m. We're going to get started. Good evening and welcome to Spider Athletics Hall of Fame. My name is Brandon Hodgins and I lead our philanthropy efforts and our alumni engagement for Spider Athletics. I first want to bring you in on a little secret. This is our favorite event of the year, and as we're planning, we planned for months, but one of our favorite parts that we did last week is we take some wagers on who's going to speak the longest out of our inductees. So inductees, no pressure, but there's a lot riding on this, so please help me win, okay? In all seriousness, Hall of Fame is the greatest honor of Spider Athletics. It brings Spiders from all decades, sports, and backgrounds together, and it's filled with incredible stories throughout the weekend. Tonight, we will hear stories from 4 inductees and the team of distinction. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge some people in the room. This year, we have 2 inductees who were coached by current sitting head coaches. So let's give a round of applause for the Taylors, Lori and Steve Taylor. And then head basketball coach Chris Mooney. I think it says a lot that we have coaches that spend a lot of time here. They're still at the top of their game, and they have people in the Hall of Fame. That's pretty special and pretty incredible. I also want to acknowledge our leadership and President Halleck and Tina Halleck, who were here in the beginning before we started dinner. They are huge fans of athletics, and it's huge for Spider Athletics. And then I also wanted to recognize our athletic director and his wife, Carole, John Hart and Carole. Thank you for all you do. And finally, 2 individuals who, if you've been involved in the Hall of Fame or have seen this event happen for many years, this does not happen without these 2 individuals. So I first want to recognize Catherine Bolafont. She leads our annual giving efforts for the Spider Athletic Fund. In the past 5 months, all she's talked about is the Hall of Fame. Every detail, she has it down to a T, and she cares so much about each inductee and just making your experience really special. So let's give a round of applause for Catherine Bolafont. And then finally, he won't be happy that I'm reading off some of his accolades, but he is the voice of the Spiders, and he's our MC for tonight. So he's been the voice of the Spiders for more than 40 years now. His voice is synonymous with Richmond athletics. It's hard to think of an event or a game where you don't hear Bob Black. It won't be right. He began his working Spider Athletic events in 1983 and 1984 basketball season, the same year Richmond made its first NCAA tournament appearance. He's a 4-time Virginia Sportscaster of the Year award winner. This man knows everyone, and anytime he calls a Spider, they answer, so he's my secret weapon. Tonight's MC, let's welcome Bob Black.
Thank you, Brandon. Did you include yourself in that little bet with who was going to have the longest speech? You didn't have to rattle off all those things at the end, and then it wouldn't have been you. Thank you, Brandon. Welcome to our 47th annual Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I say this only because of what Brandon just relayed to you and because of the tremendous, remarkable list of candidates that we have to be inducted year in and year out that makes this the hardest and the toughest event to plan and to get to this evening. Now, once we get to this evening, there's no better event to experience and to be a part of, and I'm sure tonight will continue along those lines. Let me make one quick announcement, and that is that we are live streaming tonight the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. So if you do have family and friends who did not make it, and you want to take a quick second to send them a quick text and let them know they can watch tonight, please go ahead and do that. It is on our Richmond Spiders YouTube page. There is also a link on richmondspiders.com that they can go to. There's no charge. They can watch it for free. That's one of the reasons I make that announcement. The other is to inductees who will be making speeches up here. Please remember, we are live streaming tonight. So it's not just this room that's going to hear you. Anybody on the planet can hear you tonight. So keep that in mind as you entertain us with your speeches. Along the lines of Brandon, I got a couple shout outs that I want to make before we get to the inductees. The first group, I'm not going to ask any of them to stand or call them by name. And there's no cloak of secrecy here, no double top secret event. And that is our Hall of Fame committee that I am fortunate enough to chair. And all that really means is I have to find a date amongst all their summer vacations to get them all together. And they do all the heavy lifting, and they do all the work, and they sift through all the remarkable and tremendous folks who are associated with Richmond athletics to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I give them a tremendous amount of credit, and I thank them. Some of them are here tonight. You know who you are, but heartfelt thanks for the hard work you put in, particularly during the summer months, to get us to where we are tonight. Now, at the opposite end of that spectrum, this group I do want to shine the light upon, because the inductees tonight, you're about to enter into a very exclusive club, and it grows by 4 individuals and 2 teams of distinction tonight. But it is still a very, very exclusive group. We like to believe it is the highest honor that you can attain if you have been associated in any way, shape, or form with Richmond athletics. So at this time, I'd like current University of Richmond Athletic Hall of Famers. We do want to recognize you. Please stand for us. Richmond Athletics Hall of Famers. That was an appropriate round of applause. Well done for that group. Now I challenge you to be even louder for the next group that will be taking the podium and will be our new inductees into the University of Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame. So let's go ahead. Let's expand this exclusive club with the 2024 inductees into the Hall of Fame. You will see a short video on each one of them, capturing some of the moments of their accolades and their accomplishments here at Richmond, and then you'll get an opportunity to hear from each of them. So let's get the evening started. Take a look at the video boards. Here is our first inductee, class of 2024, into the University of Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame.
Among all his accolades and accomplishments, T.J. Cline is the only Spider in men's basketball history to record a triple-double, and he's done it twice. Cline played 3 seasons for the Spiders, culminating in Atlantic 10 and Virginia State Player of the Year honors after averaging 18.5 points, 8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game. His 11 double-doubles included 14 20-point games and 2 30-point games. T.J. completed his career among the program's top 10 in total points, scoring average, rebounds, and assists. He was a 2-time All-Conference and All-State standout before embarking on his professional career. From men's basketball, Hall of Fame inductee T.J. Cline.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, fellow inductees, wow, what an incredible honor it is to stand before you here today, surrounded by so many remarkable athletes, coaches, and supporters who have shaped the landscape of Richmond sports. As I look back on my journey, I can't help but realize that none of this would be possible without the love and support of so many people. When I arrived on campus, I thought it was a great campus with great academics, a pretty view, and a good basketball program. But I didn't know what it meant to be a Richmond Spider. There was a couple who showed me what the Richmond family was all about very quickly. John and Pat Averett. John and Pat, your kindness and support made such a difference in my life. You truly made me feel at home here. You gave me a home here, and for that, I am deeply grateful. Harold Babb, I also thank you for your efforts from when I first stepped on campus until now. One of the reasons that I chose the University of Richmond is the incredible coaching staff. From running and twos on my official visit with the always rowdy Ryan Butler, who brought the same energy to every practice that he brings when he's berating the refs at the Robins Center every game, to coaches like Coach Brunt, Smitty, Kalu, Jenks, Tommy, Mago, and my main man, Willie. Each of you guys played a pivotal role in my development and as a person, so I thank you. Steve Thomas, your ability to connect with players on a personal level helped me understand not just the game, but the important life lessons that come with it, so thank you. Coach Rob Jones, from minute one you recruited me, you let me know that whether I was going to be a current Spider or a former Spider, you're going to have my back. And you've stuck with me from day one, and I appreciate you. It was no secret that the goal when I first got here was to get my body right. And I have one man that really helped me with that, and I'd like to thank Jay DeMayo. Jay, the effort you put into your current and former players is something that's unmatched. As much as anyone, you are Richmond basketball through and through, and we thank you. The special thing about Richmond is that it's a family. When you're in, you're in. I learned that from guys like Kendall Anthony and Dan Giroux, who showed me what it really meant to wear that spider across your chest. And pass it on to guys, the next generation. Guys like Sullivan Coolio, Gilly, Nick, Buck, and Neil. They always kept us in the family, they kept the tradition strong, and they carried the torch correctly. To the guys I shared a locker room with, an apartment, memories, and everything with. Those moments in the fire, handling adversity, enjoying wins. That's what I love the most about Richmond, the camaraderie. I like to thank guys like Terry Allen, Chase Fletcher, Keith Otto, Deion Taylor, Chandre Jones, and so many other teammates that laid it all on the line for us so we could have these amazing relationships that'll last a lifetime. It's special that you're going to keep these relationships for a life, and they were built at the University of Richmond. That's what means the most to me. It also means the most to me that my buddy and former teammate Marshall Wood is here, so thank you, Marshall, for being here. I appreciate it. The Richmond bond goes beyond just athletics in the basketball locker room, but goes on to the student body. That's what makes this place great. You have lifelong friendships from people who had no reason meeting you. One of the guys that's been through the fire with me all along and is here now with me now is Bobby Costanzo. You were at every game courtside, looking up things to say to the other team to try to get a rise out of them. I think a few coaches even are not too fond of you, but I appreciate you. And thanks for being here now, Bobby. Cody Lang, from day one at Niagara, you've been a full supporter of what I've been trying to do. You moved with me to Israel, you moved with me to Turkey in year one, and you're here now. You're a great guy, but you're an even better pal, so I appreciate you, buddy. The faces of Richmond basketball, who don't take any of the credit, but they are the faces. People come and go, but these guys lived Richmond basketball. Bob Black, the love you've shown me and my family is unmatched, and I can't thank you enough. It was an honor for me to be a part of the games that you called in college, but it was a bigger honor to get the call from you about the Hall of Fame, so I thank you. Your partner in crime, Greg Beckwith. You lived the Richmond dream, Greg, from playing to coaching to commentating to connecting with Spiders for life. We love the post-game interview, win or lose, because we know we got to spend a time with Beck, and he's always going to keep us positive. You told us to always remember that we were living the Richmond dream, and I always did. Thanks, and we love you. Grant Golden, my son, my brother, all the above. You pushed me to be the best I could be so I could try to be there for you along your journey. You carried the torch perfectly. We love you, and thank you for being you. Mother Ellen, thank you for always giving me a home when I come back here. Thank you for always letting me know that I have support and another set of ears that's always there for me. I love you, and all love to the Goldens. My support system starts in Texas, but was felt everywhere we traveled. Thank you to all my family for the tireless hours you guys traveled and supported me. Thank you to the Havlins for being here. Cass, Chris, thank you for always letting me know I had another set of ears. Thank you for letting me know that you were always in my corner. Thank you for letting me know that my best was enough. And I appreciate you guys, and I love you guys very much. Aunt Carla, Aunt Lisa, Uncle Mondo, you stuck with me through the easy times, and you were there with me through the hard times. You always let me know that I had an army behind me, and you guys were only one call away. And thank you very much. Uncle Rob, you believed in me from minute one, and you made sure that you traveled the country to make sure that I felt it. We miss you dearly, and I love you. Peepaw, the scribe. Every game I got a text, and the whole family got a complete write-up through the email. You showed me how to be proud of me, and I miss you a lot, Peepaw. Thank you, I love you. My big cousin Garrett, you've been the example my whole life. From writing a letter when I just played 1 year on JV to the Arkansas coaching staff, telling them how great this kid is and you need to recruit him, to calling me after every game, telling me that, hey, you're doing well, bro, I'm proud of you. And thank you, bro. You've been the big brother I've always needed, so thank you. To my siblings, Carson, Schaefer, Macy, G, you are the way I am, or you are the why to why I am. I pushed myself to exhaustion because of you guys. Why I took such pride in the way I play. I wanted to be an example for my amazing siblings. So thank you guys for all the love. Mom, Dad, you sacrificed so much to ensure that I could chase my dreams. Pops, you were my first inspiration. Watching you play basketball at the Signature growing up, I wanted to be like you up there. So you set the dream, you inspired the dream, and I appreciate that. Mom, you made the dream happen. You pushed me to limits I didn't want to be pushed to. You showed me what it took to be at the level that I wanted to be at. You were a perfect combination of a coach and mom all at one. And I appreciate that. I love you. Your guys' belief in me kept me motivated during the hard times. And I hope I made you guys proud. I love you guys very much. Moondog. Coach Moon, I owe a huge debt of gratitude to you. You believed in me before I even believed in myself. You took a chance on a kid from Niagara who played 1 year of varsity at Plano West, and you saw something before I saw it in myself. Your guidance went beyond just basketball. You always taught us never too high, never too low, even keel. And that sticks with me wherever I go. The lessons I learned under your leadership shaped me into the person I am today. And although I'll never be able to repay you for what you've done for me, I'll always give back to Richmond basketball because of you. Thank you, and I love you, Coach. Last but not least, Meemaw. Meemaw, from the 4th grade, me and you have been traveling across the country, going to hoop shoots, anything that you wanted, anything that supported my dream. You've been my rock, you've been my light, you've been my person. When I got cold feet, my first job I took in Turkey, I got cold feet 2 days before the flight. You said, don't worry, I'm flying with you. And you took a flight to Turkey with me for a week. I can honestly say I would not be where I am without you. You've been my rock, no question. You've been there, no questions asked. And I love you so much. It means the world to me that you traveled and you're here today. So I thank you so much, Meemaw, and I love you. As I stand here today, I'm reminded this is not just an individual honor. It's a testament to how great the legacy of sports is in Richmond and the dedication to everyone that has been a part of it. I hope to inspire the next generation of players to dream big, work hard, and give as much to this community as this community has given to us. Thank you for this incredible recognition. I am proud to be a part of the Richmond Hall of Fame, and I look forward to seeing how the story of Richmond sports unfolds. Thank you, and have a good night.
I don't know if I should bring this back up or not, because I know Coach Mooney won't let this ever happen again, but he wasn't going to stop TJ. How much does TJ love the University of Richmond? You know where I'm going with this. Just think back to his senior night, and when he was afforded the opportunity to come out of the game right before it ended, he got to midcourt, down on his knees, and kissed that big red spider at midcourt. Welcome back, TJ. Thank you. Let's move on to inductee number 2. We're going to go back a little bit further into our archives for a most well-deserved honor for inductee number 2 into the University of Richmond 2024 Hall of Fame class. Take a look.
His name doesn't appear among Richmond's football statistical records for top scorers, rushers, passers, or receivers. But without Rodney Elam, many of the names that do appear wouldn't be there either. Rodney earned the prestigious Jacobs Blocking Award in 1975, emblematic of the Southern Conference's top offensive lineman. He was also selected Big Five Offensive Player of the Year and All-Southern Conference. He was a team captain as the Spiders captured the 1975 SoCon regular season title. Following his standout collegiate football career, Rodney displayed his versatile athleticism and strength by becoming a Golden Gloves boxing champion. In 2014, he was inducted into the first class of the Lee Davis High School Athletics Hall of Fame. Representing football, and now in the University of Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame, Rodney Elam.
I think that Cline guy paid a little more attention in speech class than I did, so let me give it a shot here. I think I did take speech, but let me try this. Thank you all for being here, all my buddies back here, my family. Yeah, my family. But first of all, let me start off. I got some notes from my buddy of mine told me to read these. So I'm going to start off first. I want to thank Bob Black. I want to thank Catherine and thank the Hall of Fame committee for selecting me. It's a great honor, and I appreciate it. Catherine's helped me through the whole way. Of course, we had to get one of my buddies to help us on the email, and we know who that was, don't we, Lou? And the other thing that gets me is this Bob Black. So he calls me. You talking about testing somebody. He calls me and says, Elam, I just want to let you know you made the Hall of Fame. I said, oh, Bob, thank you, but you can't tell nobody. I went, what? So let me tell you, that was the worst thing. For 2 weeks, I did let it slip a little bit. You know, I don't want to tell you, Bob, don't get mad. It got out. It got out. But that's beside the point. But look, let me first start off. My family's here. I got three of my children, 2 daughters, my son. My other son is over in Japan serving, so I'm hoping he's seeing his live stream. Thank y'all guys for coming. All y'all. I appreciate it. Makes me feel good. I got my brother who, he's like 4 years older than me, so I think he contributed to me playing football because all the beatings I took growing up, him and his buddies, until the worm turned. And then once I got a little bigger, it all stopped that. But that's my brother Wayne. I got my 2 high school coaches here. Coach Buddy Gregory, he was my head football coach at Lee Davis. Coach Steve Fornash, he was the line coach. And they kept me on the straight and narrow about as best they could and kept me in school and helped me further myself in life. And that was a good thing. But let me see what else he says. Now I got and I'm so proud of them. I got my friends here that they coached. We played football together for 3 years at Richmond because I got out of Lee Davis, just to give you a little third thing, got out of Lee Davis, and I signed, I don't want to say this, but I signed to go to Virginia Tech. Don't hold that against me. But at the last moment, they realized I guess I didn't have my head on straight, so they sent me to Corsicana, Texas for a year, you know what I mean, to go to junior college. So luckily, you know, in life you make decisions, but the best decision I made was Frank Jones and Ray Tate were the coaches here at Richmond then. Great coaches. They recruited me, and they got me to go here, and I said, yeah. So I came here and played my sophomore, junior, and senior year, which was the best decision I made. I've got friends now that for 50 years, we are still the same. And I don't know if y'all come back to a homecoming. I guess y'all do, and you get around your teammates. You got some that made, how you say it, millions of dollars, big money, big this, big that, but when you get together, it's still the same pecking order. They are still that guy that, you know, it's just the way it is. But, and we still pick on the ones like, you know the guys you picked on. But like I said, I talked about Coach Gregory. I want to talk about Frank Jones, great coach. Ray Tate was a great coach. Both of them are gone now. And Jeff Hansen, he's there's only 2 coaches left of that 1973 team. Jeff Hansen's one of them. And great guy, but my offensive line coach was Jerry Fauché. He's gone too, and he was a great coach. And I'll tell you a little something about coaches. and I'm not going to talk about the button guy, so don't even think about that. You know what I mean? Talked about Jerry Fauché. So we're out in Texas. We go to Texas. Me and the guys know who it was, 3 or 4 guys. We're in Dallas, loosening up. So we wanted to go see Coach Fauché. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. So we drive over there. He's in Louisiana, 4-hour drive with 4 football players in the car. What a beating that was. So we get to Louisiana, and we see him. And, I thought I was a good football player. I won some accolades, and so those boys. The first thing he says, not, God, you only played good that year. His first thing, you played that Virginia Tech game. That guy beat your butt every play. I said, Jesus Christ, Coach, can you give me a break? And to let you off the hook, Mike Andrews, don't be hiding back there. You know what I mean? But that was the coaches. And they were great. Some of the schools we played back then, we played pretty good football. I'll give you 2 or 3 of the years. The 73 year, we went 8-2. We were ranked 20th in the nation. We beat schools like Wake Forest 49-0, beat West Virginia here, and we played pretty good football. And we had a good team, and one day that team might be in here. I'd like to see that. Yeah, it was a hell of a team, 8-2. And I got my 2 co-captains back there, Marty Smith, Pat Kelly, lifelong friends. And then in the next year, in 74, we went up and played West Virginia at home in West Virginia, and we beat them. And very few times does Richmond beat West Virginia at home. I don't know if y'all know much about back then. They were pretty tough. And I'll tell one quick story. Y'all guys love this story about Rafferty. So we're playing, and I'm tackle. If you know a little bit about football, you got a tackle, you got a tight end right there. So we had this guy over me. What was his name? Tree Adams. This guy was huge, like 6'6", 6'7". He had one of those mohawks. He was just an animal. And so he'd line up in front of me, you know what I mean? But he always rushed outside in, around the tight end. And Rafferty was like 2'5" at the best, 205 pounds. He would hit Rafferty and knock the hell out of him. And I'd be talking to him like a dog. So we'd get back in the huddle, and Rafferty would say, Elam, he's killing me. Stop making him mad. That's a better word. Yeah, stop making him mad. I said, all right, I will. So we go up to the line, I get down to position, I look at old Tree Adams, and I started cussing him out terrible, what a dog he is. And it was like slow motion. You can see Rafferty's hand right there. Rafferty goes like this, goes, oh, God, it just looks. But we won the game. Harry Knight was quarterback, the best game he's ever played. And I'll tell you a story about this is the way football was back then. Harry's dad's gone, but Harry's dad kept that game ticket in his wallet for 40 years, 45 years, whatever it was. He kept it forever. Superman, a super guy. And some of the schools we played, West Virginia, Georgia, Virginia Tech, and all of them was pretty good. The robberies were good. The bonds were good. I don't want to, I was listening to Cline talk about living in apartments and stuff. When we played, I don't know who thought about doing this. They put 100 football players in one dorm. Thomas Hall, if any of y'all remember Thomas Hall. Whew, good Lord Almighty. I tell you what, on Friday and Saturday night, it was brutal. Nobody checked on you. I won't tell none of the stories there, but I'm telling you, Thomas Hall was something that makes you a man. You either sink or you swim. It was, if you got a thin skin, do not go into Thomas Hall, because they were brutal. And we survived that, and some of the other things we won the biggest contest in Fort Lauderdale at the Button there. We won a national contest there, didn't we, guys? You know what I mean? It was a thing where you competed on the stage, colleges stuff. And Richmond won that. I'll tell y'all later at the bar about that, how we won that. But to get back to it, I've got friends, like Cline said, lifelong friends here. Once you make friends here at Richmond, the football, we've been friends for 50-some years. When we talk, like we were yesterday, and everything, you just can't get no better than these guys here. The football players we made, the friends we lost, some's gone, some's left, some died, but the ones that are still here, we're lifetime friends. And University of Richmond, I love it. And if I could tell any kid that comes here, in life, what you're gonna do is, you got people, we all know, they go make big money, they go big families, or this or that. They do all this stuff after they leave college. But for me, it was 3 years, because I lost one in Corsicana, Texas. Whew. But it was 3 years for me, 4 years for most people. It's the greatest time of your life. Enjoy it, love it, because the people you meet here at the University of Richmond will be with you for the rest of your life. And thank y'all guys for listening to me. I was rambling on, but thank you, Bob. I appreciate it.
All right, congrats, Rodney, well deserved. And Rodney, I don't know how to break this to you, but we knew you were going to tell people. We even knew which people you were going to tell, because they've been ringing our phone and banging on our door for quite some time now. So again, congratulations. All right, halfway through the individual inductees, maybe you could make an argument that the better half is still to come. I'm not sure. You may be the judge of that. Take a look once again at the video screens. Our third inductee, class of 2024, University of Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame. Take a look and listen.
Meghan Ogilvie was one of the integral leaders during a golden era of Richmond women's soccer. A two-time team captain, Meghan was twice named All-Conference and was selected Most Outstanding Player of the 2002 Atlantic 10 Women's Soccer Tournament when the Spiders earned the championship. An historic season continued with NCAA tournament victories over number 15 Clemson and James Madison as the Spiders advanced to the Sweet 16 for the first time in program history. Following a professional soccer career, Meghan returned home and founded Dog Tag Bakery LLC, a nonprofit organization dedicated to giving veterans the skills to enter the workforce and business community. She was honored with the Outstanding Civilian Service Award from the United States Army, and just this year received the Veteran Service Organization of the Year Award. Representing women's soccer, Richmond Hall of Famer Meghan Ogilvie.
Rodney, you are a good time. I'll see you tomorrow for the football game. Whew. All right. Thank you, President Halleck, Assistant, AD John Hart. Catherine, by the way, when we take over the world, Catherine, I'm recruiting you for that. Bob Black, thank you so much for the honor of calling and be able to receive this award. To all of the individuals at University of Richmond and the staff, for the staff that put on tonight, this is such a beautiful and phenomenal evening. I want to congrats TJ, Rodney, Abby, and the 2010 Women and Men's Cross Country team. It's an honor to be inducted with you all today. Coming on campus, I started looking for my Spider card, because I think I'm also in the Hall of Fame for losing the most Spider cards. Although I was really blessed to get a full ride, I'm pretty sure my parents should have a scholarship in their name at this point for replacing all of them. I always want to start with gratitude, so I'm really blessed to have my father here today. My mom, my sister Jen, Chris, and AJ, hopefully streaming in here as well. I'm fortunate to have my husband Greg, my beautiful rock star stepdaughter Hunter, my college roommate Kate Flavin, who Hall of Famer herself. And I think the fact that you did that despite being roommates with me all 4 years of college is amazing. We did it for the steak dinner, but nonetheless. My best friends who are here from 30 years, which means we met when we were -3. Most importantly, to my teammates that flew across the country that came here today and those that wanted to be here today. It's truly an honor and a blessing to have you in my life. And to Coach Albright, thank you so much for your enthusiasm you have for this sport and this game, and most importantly, the love you have for your players. It is inspiring to this day. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go far, go alone. I'm sorry, I need to restart that. I actually do this for my job, and I'm like nervous, because it's about me, and I hate that. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I'm here because you put your hand out and pulled me forward. I'm born to the youngest four of a Marine Corps family. My father served for 26 years, my sister served for 6, and my mom served for all of it. I was raised with teammates. My older siblings taught me about how to be competitive, how to have grit, how to be tough. My brother AJ probably was my toughest opponent, and that was probably a good thing. Dad, thank you for putting the principles of hard work and determination. You showed up every single day to practice or to games, and you even became coaches when other people wouldn't. Most importantly, thank you for teaching me how to use my left foot. It's definitely what got me here today. To my mom, thank you for your passion, your determination, your feistiness for life, your work hard and play harder attitude. Every time I left the house, my mom would always say, remember who you are. You represent more than yourself. You represent your father and I, and your sister, and your brothers. And remember that. But also, as you go out in this world to conquer it, remember, we have your back. Senior year, I received a recruitment letter from the United States Naval Academy, while Coach Ibert was passionately, thankfully, recruiting me. Now my dad's a Hall of Famer, a 2-time national championship lacrosse player. My sister is a class of 94 basketball player, so there's a slight bit of pressure. I turned to my dad and I just simply said, this is not my calling. And he turned to me and said, Meg, you're gonna find your way to serve. And every day, I've been trying to do that. Thank you, Coach Albright, again, for this amazing opportunity to build a family, to be part of the University of Richmond family. Walking onto campus, I found a team, but most importantly, I built a family. The first interaction I had was my freshman dorm walking in. I think I was wearing Umbros and like a Columbus Day Tournament 1997 t-shirt. Probably had pit stains because it was my brother's, because everything was hand-me-downs. And I run into Whitney Sykes from Gastonia, North Carolina, wearing a Ralph Lauren pink dress. And she said, hi, my name's Whitney. I love to run. And I was like, oh, shit. I'm not built for speed. But what I realized is I'm a center mid. If you make the run, I'll play you the ball. Let's go score some goals. And that's what we did. I want to thank you. I want to thank my teammates. We have an unbreakable bond. It is a sisterhood unlike anything else. It is when you're drenched in sweat, you're pushing yourself to the limit, and you don't know if you can push further, and someone picks up your head and pushes you forward. What I learned is about resiliency. You might play the best game of your life. You might take 17 shots and they all hit the post, and you lose. What matters most is the next day you show up, you go to practice, and you work harder together, because we only get better that way. Life is about experience. If you fail, fail greatly, do it daringly, but also realize if you learn from your failings, we just call it experience. Most importantly, enjoy it all. Whether it's the bus rides, the locker rooms, Sunday night theme parties of Britney Spears or animal print, some of those we also can't talk about. Or coming home after a disastrous soccer weekend on my 21st birthday when coach decided we would go dry, to finding a photograph of myself in a ballerina outfit on posters all throughout the campus that says, come celebrate Megan's 21st birthday, come dance with her. Thank you, Kate Flavin. My parents still have that framed in our house. Steve Jobs once said, you can only connect the dots looking backwards. The Richmond family has played a pivotal role in my life in the most integral times. I was fortunate to play soccer in Iceland, where Edda and Alina offered me an opportunity to try out. I got a phone call from Jessica Marino saying, hey, I need a roommate in New York. And I packed up my car with no job and moved to New York, where I ended up working in finance for the next 6 years. Then I got a fateful call from, again, Kate Flavin, this woman. She goes and says, I know this sounds crazy, and you're looking for the next step. I was struggling to find my purpose in finance. And she said, there's a one-armed Jesuit priest trying to start a nonprofit bakery for veterans. I'd like you to meet him at my wedding. I was like, is there a horse, like a rabbi? Like, where's the joke? And also, are you setting me up with a Jesuit priest at your wedding? My dating life wasn't great, but it wasn't that bad. Nonetheless, I met him and he officiated the wedding, and I learned about his vision of dog tag. And that's where I, that weekend, convinced him to hire me. And for the past 12 and a half years, I've become the CEO of a nonprofit that serves veterans, military spouses, and caregivers, where we focus on renewed purpose and renewed community. That also led me to find my ride or die, my husband, Greg. Ooh, and one of the most important titles I've ever had of stepmom. This is more than a game. This is more than just teammates. Less than 1% of D1 athletes go pro. So what does this mean? 99% of our athletes are going back into their community looking for purpose, looking for opportunity. 94% of women in C-suite leadership positions are collegiate athletes. That is not a cute fact. That is a badass fact. This is what happens when you invest equitably in youth sports at the women level. This is an opportunity to build tomorrow's leaders, not only by success, but by learning how to fail, by showing them each day to work harder and be better. They are learning about leadership not through a book, but through their trials and tribulations. Teddy Roosevelt has a quote about man in the arena. It's about having your face marred by dust and sweat and blood. If you're going to fail while daring greatly, so you'll never be part of those souls that never know victory nor defeat. I've never lived in the stands, and I've always been in the arena. And I want to thank deeply each of you that were here today and those that have poured into me for being in that arena with me. I'm here because you poured all of your love, all your support into who I am. In return, I promise to do the same. My teammates, my coaches, thank you for your trust, thank you for your grit and tenacity, and thank you for allowing me to be your captain. I promise for life, I will always do what I can to give back to you. Thank you to the University of Richmond for this amazing honor, and thank you to all those that were able to be here today.
Thank you, Meghan. And again, congratulations on both your Hall of Fame career here at the University of Richmond and the career that you are currently embarking upon, which is also a Hall of Fame career. And wow, Meghan and Kate, Hall of Fame roommates before you were actually Hall of Famers, that's for sure, right? All right, with the individual inductees, we started in the Robbins Center, so we're going to finish in the Robbins Center. Take a look again at the video screens for our fourth and final individual inductee into this year's Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame.
If the lights were on in the Robbins Center, chances were good Abby Oliver was on the court, practicing and perfecting her craft and her passion. Then on game days, Abby shined brightest. She was named A-10 Sixth Player of the Year as a sophomore. In her senior season, Abby led the A-10 in scoring. Her 93.8 free throw percentage led all of NCAA Division I. She's currently 8th on Richmond's all-time scoring list and 3rd in games played. Abby's name also appears in the top 10 for career field goals, three-point field goals, and free throws. A two-time team captain, she led the Spiders to 3 20-win seasons and 4 postseason berths. Abby was named A-10 First Team in 2012, when she was also honored as the University of Richmond Student Athlete of the Year. From women's basketball, Hall of Fame inductee Abby Oliver.
So I'll tell you, throughout dinner, my mom probably about at least 4 or 5 times has said, wow, there's a lot of people here. And I was like, well, thank you. That really helps my nerves. So, but, you know, a lot of people have asked me how it feels to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And it's an honor that's hard to put into words. I mean, I just think of all the great athletes, coaches, and teams that have been a part of Richmond athletics throughout the years. And I mean, these are big-time athletes, coaches, and teams. And for people to consider me to be one of the greatest among them, it's definitely a major honor and one that I was never expecting. I will tell you, I worked extremely hard during my basketball career, and I was extremely competitive. And that work ethic and deep competitive drive helped make me the player that I was. However, I could have never become the player that I was without all the great teammates and coaches that were part of my basketball journey from the age of 5 years old all the way to 22 years old. And God truly blessed me with very talented teammates and coaches who made me better every day and helped me become the player that I was. And my family has also been a huge part of my success. And I have a few of them here today. I have my parents, Dick and Beverly Oliver. I have my 2 older brothers, Brad and Andy, Aunt Becky, Uncle Harry, and my boyfriend, Scott. And they've been here for me throughout my whole basketball career and my life. And they mean the world to me, and I love them so much. And I wish I could tell 1 or 2 stories of how they've been there for me in my basketball career, because there's so many good ones, but I don't want to take up too much time up here tonight. But I will say, there is a quote that says, "If I've seen further, it's by standing on the shoulders of giants." And that's so true for me and my basketball career. I could have never have done it without my family and my teammates and coaches. And so this is as much their award as it is mine. Being inducted into the Hall of Fame has made me look back on my basketball career the past few months much more than I usually do. And I loved basketball so much, and I was constantly working on my game to get better. The love of basketball started at the age of 5, playing horse in the backyard with my brother Brad and my dad. I loved the pressure of the big games. I loved winning and absolutely hated losing. And there were a lot of championships and a lot of awards. And basketball put so many wonderful teammates and coaches and fans into my life. And the memories I've made with them are priceless. And basketball has taken me so many places and has given me so many wonderful opportunities, including playing professional basketball overseas. And I'm so grateful basketball brought me here to Richmond. The time I've spent here has really helped shape me into the person that I am today. And so basketball has given me so many things, and I'm grateful for it all. But I'll be honest with you guys. Basketball alone never fully satisfied. Even in the good and successful times, there always seemed to be something missing. And that brings me to the last person I want to mention tonight, and that's God. I didn't have a relationship with God during my basketball career, and that's one of my biggest regrets in my life. I shoved him aside, I put basketball ahead of him. But despite all that, he was still with me, and he blessed me so much in basketball in my life. And I want to thank him so much for being so good to me when I didn't deserve it. And since my basketball career has ended, I've come to understand who God is and how much he loves us. And I've come to put my faith in Jesus. And I'll tell you what, my life with Jesus is far better than anything I could have ever imagined. And it's a life that basketball never came close to giving me. There's a quote that says, "Our biggest fear should not be a failure, but it should be succeeding in things in life that don't truly matter." And a life with Jesus is far more meaningful and everlasting than anything we could ever be chasing after in life. And don't get me wrong, basketball was extremely good to me, but Jesus has been so much better. And so I just want to thank God for everything he's done for me and for giving me this amazing Hall of Fame honor. So thank you all.
Congrats again, Abby. Well done, well deserved. I can tell you sometimes when we rattle off the accolades and the honors, there's a little bit of hyperbole in them. Not with anybody in this group, for sure. But when we said, and I said, if the lights were on in the Robbins Center, and we didn't have the great Quilly Athletic Center back then, but in the Robbins Center, it was Abby Oliver. And I can't tell you how many times I walked around the corner, who's dribbling the basketball, who's shooting, and there was Abby Oliver. And that hard work has certainly paid off by virtue of her induction tonight into the Hall of Fame. So again, congrats, Abby. On to our teams, plural, of distinction. We really take this extremely seriously and with great pride. It hasn't been something we've done for a long time, and we don't do it every year, which we think makes it even more impactful. And we have never had two teams of distinction. We have never had two teams win championships, the same venue on the same day, as we did back in 2010 with our men's and women's cross-country teams, who are our teams of distinction for 2024. So you're going to see a video of their accomplishments and then some comments both from the men's team and from the women's team. The two women's runners that were selected to speak to you tonight unfortunately could not be here. So at the conclusion of the video about the teams, you're also going to see a video from the two of them, and then we'll introduce you to the men's representative who will speak up here at the podium. So right now, eyes front and center again to our video screens at our 2024 Teams of Distinction, men's and women's cross country from 2010. Take a look.
When the 2010 Richmond men's and women's cross-country teams made it a clean sweep at the Atlantic 10 Championships, it marked the first time in program history that the Spiders were victorious on both the men's and women's side in the same year. The women recorded their third A10 title. 5 Spider runners placed in the top 14. Richmond's men claimed its first A10 championship with 5 runners in the top 22, including 3 in the top 6. Steve Taylor and Lori Taylor were each named Coach of the Year, and Andrew Benford earned A10 Men's Performer of the Year. 5 Spider women's runners and 3 men's runners earned all conference honors. The men's team earned its first ever bid to the NCAA Championships, while Amy Van Alstyne competed as an individual at the Women's NCAA Championship. The 2024 Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame Teams of Distinction 2010 Men's and Women's Cross Country.
Thank you to the athletic department at the University of Richmond for bestowing this honor on our women's team from that 2010 year. It really is an honor to be inducted with such a close-knit group of women. Many of you guys obviously are out in the audience tonight. Unfortunately, Amy and I could not be there tonight. I will see you guys tomorrow at the football game. When I think about that year, 2010, at the Atlantic 10 Championships, I remember Coach Lori kind of reinforcing us packing up together. And if you look back and kind of see, I remember the Facebook memories that pop up every once in a while, that there was a group of like 4 or 5 of us, like in the front, kind of making that statement early on in the race. And the course, I remember being kind of 1.5 miles downhill and then kind of turn around 1.5 miles back up. I just remember feeling really confident running with our group, kind of just pushing each other down the hill. And then when we turned around, it almost felt like one of those races where it feels effortless. There's obviously a lot of effort in the moment, but just looking back on it with such fond memories, obviously placing so many of us in that top all conference honors, was a very, very special time. And then to have the men and the women do it on the same day was just kind of the perfect storm. A lot of things had to click for everything to work out that day, and it really went off without a hitch. Yeah, so even after the A10 Championships, coming off of that really special weekend, just what the men and what Amy were able to accomplish at regionals to qualify as a men's team. I mean, the first and only time in history to make it as a team, and then Amy getting her first cross qualification was just so huge for the program.
I do remember that day. I think for Nicole, it was a little bit more effortless than it was for me, because I remember it being insanely painful that day. But we did all come together, and I believe the fall season for us, I just remember us it was a different kind of mindset that year. We all had like a similar mentality of what we wanted to accomplish as a team. And I think at Richmond, it was special because you don't just have like the men's team and the women's team separate. We were one team. I felt that way. So I think that made it really unique, and we were all very motivated and determined to accomplish our big goals that we had for that season. And all of our teammates, we were very encouraging and supportive of one another, and I think that really helped us accomplish this big goal of winning A10s together. Thank you to the Department of Athletics, Coach Lori Taylor and Steve Taylor, and as well as our parents who were always there supporting us, coming to all our meets, being there to congratulate us when we did well, and then being there to hug us when we did poorly. And just thank you so much. It's really amazing to be inducted into the Richmond Hall of Fame. And go Spiders!
And now representing the men's championship team, he was the A10 Men's Performer of the Year that season. Please welcome to the podium, Andrew Benford. Andrew, come on up.
All right, good evening, and thank you all. Thank you to the UR Athletics Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. I am super humbled to be representing our amazing teams from that 2010 season. Also just incredibly humbled to be part of this amazing 2024 class of inductees. Just listening to all of your speeches and then looking at that brochure with the people that are already in the Hall of Fame, it's just a wow kind of moment of, wow, this is actually happening. And we are all grateful, I speak for our team, to be included in this elite group. I've also heard several, I think every other inductee so far tonight has used the word family. And I think that's pretty cool because that's kind of what the theme of my speech is. So it's maybe a good one to kind of wrap it all together. Because that's exactly what our teams are and were. And we're part of this greater Spider family, which is just so special. And it's kind of that central theme that I've been hearing tonight. Every single inductee has mentioned it. And as Nicole and Amy mentioned, we, as a men's and women's team, we were a family. We still are, and we did everything together. We practiced together. We spent every moment together, which is kind of unique from a lot of different sports. And even some cross-country and track programs across the country are totally divided. The men's and the women's never interact. That is the opposite of how our program was run. It kind of starts with Steve and Lori being married. And that had something to do with it, but they ran their program as a family. We laughed together, we cried together, we fought at times, we pushed each other. We were showing up day in and day out and getting the best out of one another, and we weren't afraid to call each other out, accountability. And I think that was even men's and women. We kind of held each other to this higher standard that Steve and Lori had set for our teams and for our program. And they kind of created that culture that then we just kind of fed into. So that was very special. They set a standard of excellence that wasn't just encouraged, it was the expectation of our team. And this was not just athletically. I mean, you heard about some of the athletic accomplishments, but one of the things that I'm most proud of is year in and year out, year after year after year, the men's and women's cross-country teams were academic All-American every single year. I mean, every single year that we were there in our 4, some of us 5 years. But I think that was, just a testament to, we weren't just there to run fast. We weren't just there to compete. We were there to give our best in the classroom, which is also translated to success in our career and personal and professional lives. I've also got to mention the alumni, the people that came before us that laid the foundation. On the men's side, there were there were the Johns. There was the John Lauder, the John Ciccarelli, the John Moles. These were the leaders of the groups that came before us, the previous classes. We didn't just show up to Richmond and all of a sudden make our team great. They had laid this foundation and this culture of, we're going to show up every day, we're going to grind. We're this little Richmond school. Nobody knows a lot about us, but we're gonna take our team and our program to another level. And this 2010 season was just the culmination of that had been building for years and programs before us. So they were very much just as much a part of this as our team was. And lastly, our parents. I mean, our parents, my folks are here tonight. A couple other families are still here supporting us, but they were there every step of the way, every race. We had amazing support from our parents to cheer us on, and then also to pick us up when we, in the harder times. And we were so grateful for their support and felt their love, and we still do. So they were very much a big part of our success. I'd like to shift a little bit and kind of reminisce some of the highlights of that video, kind of in a little more detail, a couple more stories. But just to recap, I mean, what the women did was incredible. They put 5 runners in the top 15, meaning every single one of their scoring runners achieved all conference. That's incredible. That's impressive. That does not happen very often. So it was a very dominant performance. Their second title in 3 years. Our men had 3 runners in the top 6, 5 in the top 22. Again, a very dominant performance. And then to put the cherry on top, Steve and Lori both were the Atlantic 10 Coaches of the Year that year. So it really was a perfect Richmond day that day in Shinley Park in Pittsburgh, the day of the Atlantic 10 Championships. And I look back on that of just, man, everything really clicked for our program that day. 2 weeks later, was the big one. That was the regional championship in Louisville, Kentucky. We're talking like 40 some teams, Division I teams. Our women took 7th in a super tough region, beat teams like Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Clemson, Kentucky, big schools. Amy qualified for nationals. And our men's team, we kind of knew going in, we're like, we were running nerds, and we kind of had dissected everything to like, we think if we get 4th, we can't not make it to nationals if we get 4th. 5th or 6th, maybe, but 4th is what we got to get. And we had a teammate that year that, we have bibs, like a marathon or a 5K, you get your bib. And his bib said 444. That was his number. So maybe a little bit of, predestination there. But you don't really know when you're in the middle of a cross-country race how you're doing as a team always. You're in a race, you're hurting, you're competing, but you don't really know what the score is. You don't know, are we in 4th? I don't know. Where are we? But I can remember passing Coach Moles, our former teammate, John Moles, and Steve throughout the course, and just their faces were different today. And they're like, guys, you're doing it. You're doing it. Hang on. And just the race ended, and there's usually a big, like a Jumbotron kind of thing that has the results. And I just remember seeing Richmond 4. And I was like, oh my God. Like all this thing we've been working for, you believe you can do it. But until it actually happens, you're still just like, wait, what am I seeing? And you see Richmond 4, and then below us, Louisville, UVA, UNC, Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, below Richmond, right? And I'm just like, we're going to nationals. Oh my gosh, incredible moment. Of course, we believed we could do it, but it just didn't seem real even after it happened. Of course, we go to NCAA Nationals the next week. We place 24th in the nation. 30 teams make it, 31 teams make it to nationals. Again, I got to brag on us a little bit. The people on this team will appreciate it. It's Notre Dame, Texas, Minnesota, Louisville, again, Georgetown, Penn State, Cal Berkeley. These are the teams that, we beat. One of our goals, we always kind of talked about it as men and women, is we wanted to put Richmond on the map. We wanted to put our teams on the map as a program, be competitive in D1. And I think this was evidence of that, right? Seeing those results. When you're so goal driven and you're in the moment, you're competing, it's always, well, we got to get ready for indoor track. We got to get ready for the next season, right? You kind of get caught up in all of it that you don't fully appreciate it. But I think kind of going back and preparing for this and looking back and seeing what all we did accomplish, I'm so proud to be on this team. I'm so proud of everything we did. The early mornings at Pocahontas, the long runs, the tough workouts at Bandy Field, like all those hours, they paid off. They really paid off, and I'm just so proud of what we did as a team. I got to brag on two individuals of this team because I don't know if everybody in this audience understands, it wasn't just what happened that year, but I got to say Matt Yano, he ended up going on to be 6th place in the U.S. marathon trials. In the entire country. He was the 6th best marathoner in the country. He did that in 2016, and I was fortunate enough to be watching him do it in Los Angeles. So again, that family moment, I remember embracing him after the race, just, dude, you're the 6th best marathoner in our country. Oh my gosh. Like, I'm in the... a little bit starstruck. And Amy Van Alstyne, 2 years before that, the 2014 U.S. cross-country champion. She was the best cross-country runner in our nation. Richmond Spider, pretty awesome. Products of this program, products of our success, but products of this university, products of our greater Spider family. Steve and Lori, I speak for all of us in saying the deepest heartfelt thank you. Thank you for pouring yourselves into us. Thank you for dedicating your lives to our growth, for our development. As a parent now, my daughter's the one that's been screaming, running back and forth, getting her training in. But as a parent now, I have a different lens, and I just thank you for taking care of us. The running fast was great, but the care that you took of each and every one of us on a daily basis, there aren't words. We're all super lucky to have had you in our lives and still are. You've shaped us and you've impacted us as young men and women as we've gone on to have careers and family lives, and we're so much better for having been under your guidance and wisdom those years. You've given us confidence to not just be fearless, but face our fears. You've led to so many opportunities in my life, and I'm sure I can speak for the other ones here in saying we've gotten to where we've gotten in life because of the things we learned, not just in the lecture halls here at Richmond, but in the ambulatory outside the basketball court every morning as we were warming up and getting ready to go. So thank you. And once again, thank you to the entire Spider family, all of you here tonight, and the University of Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame. Incredibly humbled, honored to be getting this recognition. And our Spider cross-country family graciously accepts this induction into the Hall of Fame. Go Spiders.
Thank you, Andrew. Congrats again to the men's and women's cross-country teams. This is normally the part of the program where I remind you about the football game tomorrow, and I'm going to do that in a moment. But before I do that, as the schedule would have it, bringing good karma to this year's men's and women's cross-country team, the Atlantic 10 Championships just happen to be tomorrow, and they happen to be right here in town at Pole Green Park in Mechanicsville. The women at 10 and the men at 10:50. I'm sure a lot of you will be out there, and I couldn't think of anything better than to recapture the magic from 2010 tomorrow with all of these inductees in the room here tonight. So Lori and Steve, we wish you the best of luck out there tomorrow, and congratulations on this team. And then after that, Spiders' success is Richmond football. Don't forget about the homecoming game at 2 o'clock. Spiders will be going for their 7th consecutive win. Hall of Fame class, you will be introduced at halftime, so everybody going to the game, stay in your seats so you can cheer them on at halftime as well. All right, to wrap it up, when we started this evening, I mentioned how impressed I was with how loud you were at some of your earlier ovations, but then I challenged you to save your loudest ovation for last. One more time for the class of 2024, the newest inductees into the Richmond Athletics Hall of Fame. Congrats again. Welcome back. Enjoy the weekend. Go Spiders.